Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review movies and today's film is Mad Max Fury Road. It's a fantasy action adventure film that is the fourth film in the Mad Max franchise. In it, Max is captured by a group of Immortan Joe's warboys and finds himself dragged along during a chase. Furiosa, a former member of Joe's clan, has made off with Immortan's wives and he has brought his army to reclaim them. When Max frees himself and joins Furiosa's cause, the two of them head off in search of her lost people with Joe hot on their tail. George Miller wrote the story with Nicholas Thuris and Brendan McCarthy. George Miller also directed the film, which stars Tom Hardy as Max, Charlize Theron as Furiosa, and Nicholas Hoult as Nux. To start off, if you aren't familiar with this franchise, you don't really need to be to enjoy this film. There isn't much context to get from previous films, and the story doesn't rely on you understanding anything anyway. It just wants you to experience the emotions it sets forth. First and foremost, this is a movie about post-apocalyptic crazy people driving cars and fighting over resources. The more you try to make sense of what's going on, the less sense it's going to make. Having said that, the film does have quite a few positive qualities to it, starting with the visuals. The visual journey is an epic and fantastically colorful journey through a desert wasteland. It's filled with lots of highly contrasting lighting, great costume work, and a lot of amazing stunts and action. From start to finish, the characters look great and the action looks awesome too. There's lots of big explosions, car crashes, and big death moments throughout the film to keep things exciting. They do an incredible job of making it feel brutal without making it look gory. It's also backed up by scored orchestral instrumentals and a few hard rock songs that follow the story closely and try to amplify all of the emotions in any given scene. They make the story feel larger than life and highlight danger, sadness, and glory when appropriate. Occasionally, they connect beautifully with the writing and the acting to create a magical moment, like during Nux's Witness Me moment. There's quite a few good moments like that in the film. There's always something going on, too, with the story moving at a breakneck pace from start to finish. New plot points pop up constantly. The story has a few twists and turns, and there's action every few minutes or so to make sure you're really getting a good dose of adrenaline. The cast are playing somewhat stereotypical characters, but they commit to it. What you get is a lot of religious nutjobs yelling "Witness me" and a bunch of action hero lines and poses from the protagonists. It's entertaining, but a bit one note. For standouts, they had Charlize Theron as Furiosa and Nicholas Hoult as Nux. The two of them get to do actual character journeys throughout the film and at least get to express a few big emotions. Like everyone else, they don't get much dialogue, but they both do a good job of their action hero poses and lines. Theron manages to create a tough, silent woman with a bit of heart underneath. She gets a couple of big emotional outbursts and does them with a great passion. Holt plays a fanatic that sees the light and tries to redeem himself with his time left. He plays with the emotions well, and his journey ends up being quite moving. On the negative side of things, the story and the dialogue are so goddamn dumb. I honestly thought I was having a brain aneurysm at one point while watching it again. They don't explain anything, none of the characters' actions make sense, and basically everything that happens in the film is guided by the rule of cool and nothing else. They also don't develop the characters to any meaningful degree or do any kind of storytelling beyond the very basic stuff that's already right in front of your eyes. It's hard to connect with Max or Furiosa on any level, so basically the film becomes about watching cool action and hoping Joe loses. They don't ever spend any time developing Joe as a villain though, so you don't even hate him that much. The cast gets very little to do beyond action poses and one-liners. Even when they are given something to do, it's marred by all the other things happening around it that distracts from their performance. Like whenever they're delivering dialogue, the music is always too loud. Or they'll be giving an emotional reaction and in the background something crazy is happening that draws your eye away from their performance. The film also seems to have an aversion to spending more than 5 seconds on any one emotional reaction. They even cut away from Furiosa's big moment in less than 10. She's barely through a single part of her cry before they cut to Max standing there picking his butt. It would have been nice if the film let the actors do their job properly. But I guess Miller doesn't like dialogue or having to deal with emotions on any real level. Also, and I won't be taking points away for this, but I do want to mention it, there are so many dumb visuals in this film. Like, why in God's name are they dumping huge amounts of their precious water into the sand? Or how about when they're spitting gasoline into the engine to make the car go faster? Woof. Personally, I enjoyed this film quite a bit the first time I saw it in 2015. I thought it was a great action film at the time with a somewhat weak story. Today, it didn't hold nearly the same appeal, but maybe my standards are too high now. As a popcorn film, it does everything you want it to and more. It's a super light action film where the stakes are low and there aren't a lot of deep emotions to grapple with. It's got lots of explosions and tons of fast cars, tearing up a desert to thumping rock beats and scored tracks. There's also lots of weird fetish-adjacent visuals for the audience to be dazzled by. If you're into that sort of thing, it goes all the way. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 6 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye bye.